He sat quietly in seat 12F. Window side. Head low. A worn-out cap shadowed his face, and a small backpack rested at his feet. The flight attendants had passed him twice without much notice, just another tired passenger on a red-eye flight to Washington, D.C. But the truth was, the man in 12F wasn't just anyone. He was someone the skies would never forget. And when the radio call came through, when a squadron of F-22s heard the words Titan I, airborne, the entire command center froze. But we'll get to that part soon. Before you scroll or skip, I'll tell you why his story matters. Because by the end of this, you'll understand what true sacrifice looks like and why sometimes the quietest seat on the plane hides the loudest story in history. So stay with me. And if this story moves you even a little, hit that like button, because heroes like him deserve to be remembered. The man's name was Jacob Jake Carter, a single dad, widowed at 35. His wife, Emily, had been a trauma nurse who lost her life saving others during a hospital explosion overseas. Jake was left alone with their 8-year-old daughter, Lily, who believed her dad fixed planes for a living. She didn't know that once upon a time, he flew them, the deadliest fighter jets in the world. Call sign, Titan I. After the tragedy, Jake left the Air Force quietly, no ceremony, no goodbyes. He took a janitor's job near a civilian hangar, close enough to hear the rumble of engines but far enough to never touch a cockpit again. The nightmares had taken that from him. Every night, he'd wake up hearing Emily's last words over a crackling comm line. Save them, Jake. All of them. Now, he was on a plane to D.C. because his daughter had won a national robotics competition, Lily, the bright little spark that kept him going. She was set to present her invention at the Air and Space Museum, and Jake promised he'd be there, front row, cheering louder than anyone, but fate had other plans that day. 2 hours into the flight, somewhere over Virginia, the pilot's comm voice crackled over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing an unexpected systems malfunction. Please remain seated while we assess the situation. A ripple of unease spread through the cabin. Jake glanced outside. The clouds were thick, the turbulence growing rougher. He noticed subtle things, the flight path slightly veering off, the pilot overcorrecting, the silence between updates. His instincts, long buried, began to stir. Then came the sound no passenger should ever hear. The oxygen masks dropped, screams filled the cabin. A baby cried. A woman clutched her husband's arm. Jake's hands trembled as his combat-trained mind switched back on. He stood, scanning the rows, helping passengers secure masks, calming voices with that calm authority only veterans carried. That's when the flight attendant whispered, panicked, the cockpit doors locked, we've lost contact. Jake's heartbeat thundered. He looked out the window again and froze. 2 silver jets, sleek and menacing, had formed up alongside their plane. F-22 Raptors. U.S. Air Force. The intercom clicked again, but this time it wasn't the flight captain's voice. This is command control to unidentified aircraft Delta 417. You are off course and unresponsive. Prepare to be escorted. Jake's throat went dry. He knew that voice. He'd heard it in 100 missions. It was Colonel Briggs, the same commander who had once trusted him with missions no one else dared fly. The passengers began to panic again, realizing something was wrong, terribly wrong. Jake reached for his backpack, unzipped it, and pulled out something he'd sworn never to touch again, his old dog tags, still scratched and faded. Carter, J, Titan I. He stared at them for a long second, then pressed the call button. I need access to the cockpit, he told the flight attendant firmly. Sir, you can't. I'm Titan I. He said softly. The attendant blinked, unsure what that meant. But when Jake showed her the tags, when she saw the look in his eyes, she nodded and led him forward. Inside the cockpit, chaos reigned. The co-pilot was unconscious, oxygen mask half off, and the captain was fighting a jammed control system. Warning lights blinked red everywhere. Jake scanned the instruments once, twice, then took the seat. His hands moved instinctively. Hydraulics are bleeding out. We've got 5 minutes before we lose full control. How do you know that? The captain asked, stunned. Jake didn't answer. He just reached for the headset. Control, this is Delta 417. You've got Titan I on board. There was silence, then, an almost shocked voice from the other end. Repeat. Titan 1? As in Colonel Carter? Jake exhaled. Negative, not Colonel. Just Jake now. But I'm flying her in. In the skies above, the F-22 squadron leader nearly dropped his stick. Titan 1, sir, we thought you were, yeah, Jake interrupted quietly. Me too. Every eye on that plane was on him now, passengers staring from the aisle, some whispering, some praying. Jake's focus was absolute. The plane shuddered violently as he took manual control, fighting against crosswinds and failing systems. He guided it down through storm clouds, every second feeling like an hour. When the wheels finally screeched against the tarmac and the plane came to a shaky halt, a roar of applause erupted through the cabin. People cried, hugged strangers, kissed the ground when they exited. Jake stayed seated for a moment, hands still gripping the controls, tears streaming silently. When he finally stepped off, the sunlight hit his face, and standing at the bottom of the stairs were two F-22 pilots, saluting him. Behind them, Colonel Briggs, older now, eyes wet. "Welcome home, Titan 1, the colonel said softly. "The skies missed you." Jake just smiled faintly. "I'm retired, sir. Just came to see my daughter's science fair." The colonel chuckled through his tears. "Then go see her, hero." At the museum later that day, Lily ran into his arms, holding up her little trophy. "Daddy, did you see the jets outside? They said someone really brave saved a plane today." Jake hugged her tight, whispering, "Yeah, sweetheart. Someone really brave did." She giggled, oblivious, as he lifted her up toward the sunset streaming through the glass dome. The sound of jets echoed faintly outside, his brothers of the sky, flying a tribute pass, and for the first time in years, Jake looked up, not with pain, but with pride. He'd saved lives again. Not as a soldier. Not as Titan 1. But as a father who refused to let fear define him. So if you're watching this and you've ever felt like your best days are behind you, remember Jake. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment to remind the world who you really are, and if this story touched you, don't just scroll past. Hit that like button, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe. Because heroes like him don't ask for medals, they just keep flying, and somewhere above the clouds, a quiet voice still echoes on an old radio frequency. Titan 1, mission complete.